Mm, 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 mm. You know the best part of waking up is what? Well, obviously, in about a year, it's not going to be any kind of menthol cigarettes or any kind of nicotine flavored blunts. So if you've been living under a rock, we're going to talk a little bit about something different this morning on Coffee and Blunts with BG. I was just reading on the news, man. They're getting ready to ban menthol cigarettes and nicotine flavored blunts like Swishers and stuff like that. So I got a couple of props here. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So if you happen to smoke Swishers, you know what I mean, or nicotine flavored blunts, you might want to pay attention to this video today. So jump on here. Let's have a conversation. What up, Juan Mata, baby? Most hated in the building, first in the morning. Top of the morning to you, baby. But we are on day 3 of the draft, and it's still defense wins championships. You know, our first 5 picks or defense. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Cowboy fans that are still bitching and complaining because, quite frankly, Cowboy fans just bitch about anything they can anyway. You know, it's like when we win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? When we win a Super Bowl, mark my words. Cowboy fans is going to talk shit about something. They're never fucking happy. And if you smoke them nicotine flavored blunts, man, you know what I mean? Like I used to be on Swishers. And I'll share with you guys my experience with that on the video today. But banning menthol cigarettes, like I smoked Newports for a while I was in the Navy. A few times on and off. You know, there's a lot of bitching and complaining. Folks are saying, hey man, you know, you can't be banning cigarettes, man. Well, shit, the last time I checked, man, people fucking dying from cigarettes. And people dying from nicotine. You know what I mean? And that's why I had to make the switch, because over on Medium, you guys, if you follow me on Medium over there, you know I wrote a story about why I quit smoking Swishers and I graduated to these OGK, these Hemperillo blunts, the Royal blunts, right? I wrote a story about that. These were the first, you know, hemp, nicotine-free, tobacco-free blunts that I got on. And what I had found by using these was I was using a whole hell of a lot of flour. You know what I mean? And then once I started branching out and checking out my portfolio, diversifying my portfolio, I discovered these high hemp wraps, which a few of you have actually tried before. And so that's what I'm on today, is a high hemp wrap. We're on that golden pineapple. You know what I mean? We're on the wake and bake this morning. And we're talking about smokers. So if you smoke cigarettes or if you smoke blunts like I did, this might be a conversation you might want to pay attention to, because there's news that within the next year, there's going to be bans on that stuff. So what's going to be your alternative? Well, I'll tell you, man, if you want to smoke and you want to smoke healthy, you know what I mean? You're going to have to find an alternative. You know what I mean? And this goes back to, you know, let's get some more shout outs before we get deep into the story here today. What up, Wayne? What up, Juan? I see you, man. Wayne Clark, Big Dub in the building, baby. I see you. If you're online this morning and you're joining me, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. But we're talking about cigarettes. We're talking about smoking. We're talking about things that are good and things that are bad for you. And, you know, this kind of caught my attention. So shout out to Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy. I know he probably jump on here with us in a minute. If you guys know Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy down in Colorado, admin over there at OAT, shared an article on his timeline this morning. Even Backwoods was in that, if I'm not mistaken. Backwoods is part of that band too as well, those flavored blunts. So, man, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be a industry shift when it comes to blunts, because if you're talking about shutting down all of the tobacco blunts that are out there, I would invest in some stock on some hemp wraps if I was y'all. You know what I mean? So just sharing y'all what I found this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How we doing? We are on day 3 of the defense. It's still defense wins championships for them Cowboy fans is out there. But we're talking about a little bit something different this morning in terms of smoking. So good morning to everybody. If you're just scrolling on your timeline and if you're following me in the last few days, the last 4 days, I think CNN just put it out today. The last 4 days I've been doing some research and they've been talking about banning. They're going to ban, you know what I mean, tobacco blunts. You know what I mean? You're talking about Backwoods. You're talking about Swisher Sweets. Now, for those of y'all that know me and that go Swisher Sweets, and you got to understand Swishers, how entrenched and embedded they are within this culture of smoking when it comes to cigarettes, because a lot of folks actually smoke cigarettes and they smoke blunts at the same time. You know, so the nicotine industry, the tobacco industry getting ready to take a big hit. And if you see and you're paying attention to what's going on in the news, especially with the alcohol industry trying to team up with the cannabis industry, you know, there's a lot of bigger fish to fry that's going on along with that. We're talking about social equity and things of that nature. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but if you're just joining this morning, move over, bacon. There's something leaner. You know what I mean? For those folks that have been around, know that, you know, these tobacco products, you know, they're trying to do away with this tobacco industry stuff. You know what I mean? It's killing folks, quite frankly. And, you know, it's legal to purchase pretty much everywhere, right? And as we see the ushering of the cannabis industry come in, now some of these changes are going to be ushered in as a result. Because at the end of the day, man, if people are dying, same thing as opioids. If you're dying from taking pills, you know what I mean? There's alternatives where you can actually smoke cannabis as a medical patient. So I know we're all over the place this morning. What up, Jesus? Good morning. How you doing? I see you, man. Zigzags for Liar Bob, the cannabis cowboy. Yeah, so invest in zigzags. What up, Lavelle? I see you, baby. What up, Eric? But he's talking about investing in zigzags. Yeah, that's a good opportunity there too as well. But we on Coffee and Blunts this morning with BG, man. Good morning. You know the best part of waking up is what? So if you got it, light it up. If you got it, smoke it. You got it, drink it. Pull up a chair. You know what I mean? I'm on this golden pineapple, shooting about 22% at an Emmett range. And I'm on them Hubba Bubba high hemp wraps. That's what we're talking about today, baby. Nicotine-free vegan wraps, baby. So, getting into a little bit of Cowboys football, we'll get some other folks and let these notifications go out, get some other folks that want to join. So if you know somebody that smokes, do me a favor, tag them in a comment, share this video with somebody, send it to them in a messenger. You know, there's a ban on menthol cigarettes coming. There's a big discussion about that when it comes to the tobacco industry. You got the tobacco industry, you got the industry, the cannabis industry, and you got the alcohol industry. Now, when you take these three industries, you got to look, the newcomer on the block is the cannabis, because technically cannabis can push you out of smoking and out of drinking. Witness? So something to think about as we read this news about banning these. So if you own stock in like Backwoods or menthol cigarettes or the cigarette industry as a whole, you know, it's going to be some friction here come these next 24 months, because within a year, they're talking about banning all of the menthol cigarettes and all of these Backwoods and these flavored tobacco blunts.
Are you live?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to Zimba. See
Okay.
You later.
Okay, bye. What up, John? What up, Eric? Man, I'm sorry. Cleveland in the house. Eric's out there enjoying that draft. I know he is. Hey, man, shout out Drew Pearson. You know what I mean? Only like Drew Pearson can, right? You know what I mean? Getting up them announcements, announcing them draft picks. He's got a thing for them defensive backs, you think? Hell, Mary. But good morning if you're just joining, man. It's Coffee and Blunts with BG, man. I thought I'd do a little bit something different today. I know a lot of people ain't feeling my content. I really don't give a fuck, because those of y'all that are, I appreciate that. But going back, like I said, you know, a few months ago, I wrote a story. You know, I was on Swishers when I first started. And I'll tell you my story a little bit for those of y'all that don't know it, that's joining me here today. Once I initially got on Swishers, I mean, before I could even roll a Swisher, I was doing it backwards. I was technically just taking out all of the tobacco. I wasn't even splitting it. And I would just take flour and just punch it down in there and just stick it down in there, doing some old weird shit, because I didn't know how to roll. Then I had to YouTube how to roll a blunt. And of course, you know, growing up in Texas in the 90s, if you know anything about UGK, shout out, you know, Pimp C, RIP Pimp C. You know, it's my favorite artist right there. Bun B, if you guys are on Sirius XM, you need to go check out Trill Radio. Bun B's hosting a new radio show. I think they're going on 3 weeks now. So if you didn't know, UGK actually took the Swisher Sweets logo, and that's what's inspired the UGK logo. So next time you take a look at a Swisher Sweet Pack and a UGK CD and you see their logo, you'll see the correlation, the similarities, right? So, of course, when Barry gets into, you know, experimenting with cannabis and stopping smoking alcohol after I retired, because that was my choice of pain management over opioids, you know, I didn't like the pre-rolls, because I had learned from some folks that I'm close with that pre-rolls were kind of like bottom of the barrel flour. It wasn't good quality, so have you. So I got into the flour, and then if you're going to do flour, you're either going to put it in some kind of tool, or you're going to you know, you're going to roll it up. So being the old school head I am, growing up in the UGK era, you know what I mean? Of course, I got started on Swisher Sweets. You know what I mean? The R&B, the, you know, the hip hop rap industry, that culture, you know what I mean, has pushed blunts to a whole new level. You know what I mean? And so as now we take a look at it, there's going to be moving over bacon. You know, bacon is essentially Swisher Sweets. They're going to have to move over, man. You got these healthier alternatives out there for those that are smoking. What up, Mondo? I see you, baby. Jay says, I smoke glass pipe or glass bone, but it's not right that they want to take away that shit for you people that do use it. Yeah, you know. You know, a lot of people are going to be complaining. You know what I mean? A lot of folks are addicted to nicotine or tobacco, you know. And I'll tell you, when I was smoking Swishers, man, it was bad. Like, I was spitting up and that shit was black coming out my lungs. You know what I mean? So it's not good at all. And once I gave it up and I got on these Hemperillos, the Royal Blunts, you know what I mean? These come 4 to a pack. They got different flavors. I initially got on the pineapples, you know, the Lakers. You guys were here with me last year. You see me rocking Laker Cowboy shit. So there's 4 of these in here, but they're really long and they burn slow. That's the other good thing, too, about hemp wraps. Is they'll burn slower than Swishers, so you're looking for some added benefit. But the reason why I went from the Royal Blunts over to these, because these only come 2. These actually come with filters. They got filters in this for those of y'all that like to smoke with filters. I don't, personally. I just roll it up, but it smells like bubblegum, and that's why I like it so much. But I went from the Royal Blunts over to the high hemp wraps because, you know what I mean, I was using less flour when I rolled these up. You know what I mean? So you got to know as your medication, how much medication you need per week. And you got to start paying attention to that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it affects your pocketbook. You know what I mean? And these, quite frankly, are a little bit less expensive, you know what I mean, than these are. And then you got to be able to find them. Now, these are actually, you can go to highhempraps.com and check them out. And they're made actually in, I want to say in New Zealand. They got it on here somewhere. And you want to pay attention to that type of stuff. So, you know, yeah, a lot of folks going to be pissed off about menthol cigarettes. A lot of folks going to be pissed off about Backwoods, Swisher Sweets, you know, all of that stuff. So in a year, you know what I mean, they're already starting that discussion and beginning that legislation. So look for that. I wanted to get on here and talk that with y'all and see what y'all's feedback was on it. And I appreciate Jay chiming in, letting me know. He says, I can say I never smoked cigarettes or any kind of tobacco product. You know what I mean? I can't say that. I was in the military. I smoked casually, got into it, you know what I mean? Especially while drinking. Hell, I learned that while drinking, you want a fucking cigarette. But for me, you know, at that time, you know, I was heavily on the court and in the gym. And, you know, it just wasn't working out for me, coughing and, you know what I mean, hacking up on the court and not being able to stay in shape. So, you know, you had to be able to give that stuff up. So I quit smoking several times, cigarettes. I actually smoked Marlboro Lights and Newports. So, you know, no hate out there to those smokers, but the legislation and these laws that are coming down, you got to look at it, man, just like these opioids that we talk about as medication. People dying, man. But you know the best part of waking up is what? So I appreciate the 4 of y'all that's hanging out with me talking this discussion this morning. You know, for those of y'all that don't want to interact, comment, like, or share, I understand that. You know what I mean? Some of this stuff is kind of, you know, folks don't even want to get around it on social media. They're scared. They don't want to support it because of the stigmas that's there. And, you know, shout out my man, Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy. We just talked about that last Wednesday, the stoner stigma. Morning, Sarah Johnson. How you doing? That's all old school artist. Eric Martinez says, yeah, you know what I mean? That's, you know, it comes from the dirt, baby. John Anthony Hernandez. What up, man? I see you, baby. Appreciate you joining in this morning. But move over bacon. There's something leaner. So for those of y'all in that age bracket know what I'm talking about, man. It looks like not only will the tobacco industry be hit as a result from menthol cigarettes, but the culture from the cannabis industry bleeding over into the Swisher Sweets portfolio and the Backwoods portfolios is not looking good. So if you know some folks that's got some money tied up in that stuff, they probably want to get on that Stash app over there and look at some other stocks and options, you know, in the cannabis industry, maybe like some Miracle Grow or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you want to pay attention to that. Eric says, I mean, they didn't remove cigarettes in CVS and Walgreens a while back. They took a big hit. Yeah. So not sure exactly what you're talking about on that. But, you know, I just read that this morning. I didn't get too deep into it. But on the surface, you know, I know it wasn't good. And what caught my eye is I don't smoke cigarettes, but I did smoke flavored blunts. And that was part of the discussion, especially with a photo of Backwoods on there. So shout out Bob Cannabis Cowboy for sharing that piece of content over there. What up, Kevin Vanderpool? I see you, baby. How you doing? Good morning. Paul Rose, good morning. Y'all know the best part of waking up is what? It's 5 defensive picks in your cup, baby. We still got 6 more picks left, right, baby? So they're going to do some damage there. And them talking about they still not done. Defense wins championships, right, Cowboys Nation? And a good defense will help you stop smoking them flavored cigarettes and all that other stuff like I did, man. And I'll tell you the reason why I did was 2 reasons. I was spitting up that black shit from my lungs. And quite frankly, like I said, you know, these are the same size as Swishers, essentially. And, you know, you use too much of your medication. You know what I mean? In one sitting. And I have come to find that these kind of fit my medication regimen that I'm on right now. And so I wanted to share that with y'all. So if you're, you know, just getting involved or you don't know, I know the biggest part of the cannabis stuff is just education. Man. And so as I learn some of this stuff, I'll share this here with you guys too as well. Because like I said, you guys know my story. I've essentially been up here on my own. You know what I mean? Because the law encourages you to medicate at home, where I'm at. You guys have seen me at my home, pretty much all the videos here, right? And, you know what I mean? Social distancing, quarantine, all that can't, you don't have no functions, all that, you know, so you by yourself. I'm the only one in the household that medicates. And so I had to learn how to roll a blunt. So there I was on YouTube, how to roll a blunt, go figure. And you know, and it worked. So you want to hang out here, man, and get your education, because sometimes self-education can be the best education. But we on Coffee and Blunts with BG, man. So y'all tell me good morning. Let me know where you're watching from. But yeah, get a good defense. Like Paul Rose says, defense is the best. Get a good defense, man. And take care of yourself while you medicate. Because smoking cannabis is not bad for you, man. Last time I checked, nobody dying from cannabis. But the last time that I checked, people dying from tobacco. And people dying from opioids. And that's not a shot directly at those folks. That's just the way the system's been designed, man. You know what I mean? And so those are the alternatives. And so you got to find different alternatives like I'm sharing with you guys. You know what I mean? Nobody went out there and told me. I just started paying attention and reading on cannabis industry stuff and taking a look at the different cultures, following some different brands on social media, getting my education up, because a lot of folks fear what they don't understand. And I think that's the biggest part, is the education of the cannabis, especially for users, you know, medical patients like myself, card-carrying members. So shout out to all the card-carrying members that are out there in those legal states. I think we're over 34 plus legal states right now. I think New York just legalized. Shout out Jay Mackin over there, right? Jay Mackin, you can verify that. I think I've just been reading some stuff out there in New York. What up, Harry Robinson? I see you, man. Paul Rose says he's in Andrews, Texas. Appreciate you joining. Sarah Johnson, I can't smoke anything because it makes me cough. I know it helps my friend. Okay. You know, there's different types of ways. You know, there's not just smoking THC. You know, you've got CBD creams, oils, tinctures, they call them. So there's different alternatives even within the cannabis industry for you to get. You know, there's a lot of folks that use CBD creams and oils. There's a lot of players that use that. So shout out Jason Williams, you know, ESPN, big NBA analyst. You know what I mean? He's a big CBD proponent and promoter. He actually did a special. Actually, I think I watched it on his IGTV as he's applying those types of creams and things like that. So, you know, you got to find out, you know, you got to know what you're trying to medicate, you know what I mean? And then you got to go at it from there. So, you know, for those folks that are, you know, depressed, major depressive, PTSD, mental, you know what I mean? A lot of pain is not always visible. Some of it's mental. So for those folks dealing with, you know, medicating with cannabis, using it as a form of pain management for an invisible pain, you know, that's where a lot of folks will go at. But Jay Maxson says, Jay, you know, tincture sucks. Now, you know, the smokers and some of us, we have our preference. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. So don't let what Jay says about it sucks. You got to go out there and you try it. Like I've tried edibles too as well. And that's different than smoking. You know, edibles are chewables. You know what I mean? Flavored candies, cookies, you know, creams. There's actually cannabis chefs out there. So shout out to Wanda James in Denver, first African-American woman to own a dispensary in the United States. She's a veteran, was in the Navy. She used to chase subs. She's all over LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, you want to go over there and follow her. But her husband, who also is a Marine veteran, is a cannabis chef. And so they're in the business together out there on one side on the counter and on the other side in the kitchen. And so they're tearing shit up. So if you're on LinkedIn over there, go look up Wanda James. I actually wrote about her. You know what I mean? Navy veteran. She got into the cannabis industry. You know what I mean? But we're all over the place talking about this stuff this morning. And I wanted to tell y'all about how my bacon had to take a move over, how I moved my bacon over essentially. And I got onto these Royal blunts at first. And then what I had found out is what really helped push me to that too was during the quarantine, a lot of folks got onto these too as well. And they started coming up missing in all the spots that I was going to. So you can buy them directly from, the distributor or actually the producer. You know what I mean? Like you can go to highhempraps.com. You can purchase from there. You know what I mean? So I've seen that alternative too as well. But we're getting folks educated over here in the process of some lip service and shenanigans with the Cowboys stuff. So shout out to them Joneses out there, because defense wins championships, and that goes right along with a good defense. You know what I mean, on your health, and that's not putting anything, putting anything offensively in your mouth that shouldn't be there. You know what I mean, or your lungs. What up, Jerson? I see you, baby. Bags on the line. What up, baby? Congrats on that retirement, man. I seen the paperworks. But it's the coffee and the blunt with BG this morning, man. I just wanted to share with y'all this morning the news that's out there that's being talked about, kind of how that applies to what I got going on. I wanted to share my story with you guys and kind of hopefully inform and educate, because that is a big part of that is missing for folks that don't understand cannabis, that industry, or how it's being used as medication. And especially around that stigma, you know what I mean? The stoner stigma, because everybody thinks, BG just gets high watching Netflix all day, you know what I mean? If I did that, I wouldn't be able to bring you this kind of information, you know what I mean? I'd be talking to y'all about Netflix, you know what I mean? Like The Social Dilemma. So if you haven't watched that, go over there and check it out. What up, Hamid? Malik, I see you, baby. What up, Marcus? Paul Rose says, I can't wait until Texas makes it legal so I can start smoking again. Yeah, it's big talks around Texas. It's right there. You know what I mean? They're pushing the paperwork up. There's more folks. Especially, I hear about Matthew McConaughey running for governor or something over there like that too, man. So, you know what I mean? To some extent, it is a circus, but to some extent, you can get the right pieces of a chess game in the right positions to execute. You know what I mean? So with 34 plus states legalizing, I mean, it's only a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, but when. And then before you know it, you'll see CBD products and you'll see THC products in your favorite NFL stadium. You'll see your favorite NFL player actually being paid to promote that on commercials. Imagine that. They'll be working with the VA and veterans and saying, we smoke this same strain together because it helps PTSD, depression, and recovery for NFL players. Something to that extent. You know what I mean? I long for the day that veterans will be able to actually go into the VA, because this is an expensive habit. Expensive way to medicate. Let me rephrase that. Not habit. Expensive way to medicate as a veteran who chooses to medicate that way over opioids. I could go to the VA and get pills for free, but it will be a beauty of a sight when veterans can walk into the VA and get their own prescriptions filled with their favorite cannabis strain. You know what I mean? Caitlin Adams says, Schwarzenegger was governor of California, so anything. Yeah. I know once I seen that shit, I'm like, damn, that dude was natural. He wasn't even a natural born citizen, right? He's from the country, right? Schwarzenegger, yeah. You know what I mean? He got his paperwork, but, but that's California. Anything kind of goes down there. But Jay Mackin says, shit, I post news on Texas every day over there on Bob. Yeah, and I see it, baby. I appreciate that. Caden says to try and grab at least one offensive lineman before it's all said and done. I agree. Sewell got taken off the board, so appreciate that. Caitlin coming up in here, switching the conversation up. They feel absolutely comfortable with Tyron's health moving forward. Yeah, that's all I've been hearing is, the Cowboys' health coming out this year has been better than ever. And so, you got to be optimistic about that. You know what I mean? But defense does win championships. And that's kind of what I've been talking about. Like, why is so much emphasis put on the defense winning championships when everybody in the first round wants to draft offense? So I'm surprised they haven't picked up O-line yet. I think we got 6 more picks left, right? I think we got the most picks in the draft, right? I think we got 5 of the top 99 picks, right? So I think them Joneses is doing pretty good over there with the draft whisperer, Will McClay. So I'm ecstatic about what they're doing over there. And, you still got after the draft, you got all these veteran free agents out there. You still got folks looking for homes, you know what I mean? So they can patch the rest of that up, what we don't get off the draft. But y'all will have to stay tuned. So once we do draft all the rookies over at officialamericas.team.com, I will be putting out an article on how to follow all of the new rookies on social media in one place. So you guys can jump on there if you want to learn how to follow them, especially if you're on Instagram. Most of the NFL players are on Instagram. It is a platform built specifically for stars, you know what I mean, with those blue checks, that type of stuff. So You want to go over there, officialamericsteam.com. Make sure you subscribe so you get that email when it comes out. That'll be coming out in the next week. Right now, they just took a linebacker at pick 115, Jabril Cox of LSU. Who just the Cowboys did? They're back on the clock now? But anyway, if that's the case, baby, you got, we're just on here giving y'all lip service and shenanigans this morning. You know what I mean? You got to move over, Bacon, because something leaner is here. And, big cannabis industry, you know what I mean? You see government, you know what I mean, getting involved with this tobacco industry. And now you got the alcohol industry trying to marry up with the cannabis industry. So you're going to have to stay tuned here, man. If these types of things interest you, if you're, like to keep up with this type of information and news, especially if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, do me a favor, hit them notifications right there. We will be having these conversations moving forward. So do me a favor, comment, tag somebody in the comments below who needs to be added to this conversation. Do me a favor and share this video. Somebody that needs to hear this today, man. Y'all been rolling with BG. It's coffee and blunts. Well, BG, baby, y'all know the best part of waking up is what? We'll see y'all on the next video.